Hi everybody, Jesse Fuel here with the latest edition of Morning Fuel, where you and I share coffee first thing in the morning and rant about issues related to innovation, collaboration, and agility. Let's get started. Oh, now I'm feeling all warm and fuzzy. Let's get talking. So this edition is a special edition because this is a follow-up Q&A to the webinar I did yesterday with the Scrum Alliance on the topic of being Agile-ish. We're not really achieving true agility. We're kind of in this awkward, diluted state. And it turns out that a lot of that is due to some well-intentioned leadership mistakes. And we ran out of time. It was a great conversation. And there's 7 questions that we need to get through because we didn't have time during the webinar. So here we go. Question number 1, Jesse, what do we do about keeping people on board when we hit into the valley of bumpy beginnings? The valley of bumpy beginnings, the valley of death, is that dip in any change initiative where you know things are going to get better before they get worse. 2 thoughts. Number 1, tell them ahead of time. If you're starting to get on this agile journey and it's getting bumpy and you didn't tell them, by the way, it gets worse before it gets better, people are going to be confused, lots of questions. There's going to be a lot of staring around and finger pointing. And then you break through. If you didn't tell them that, tell them now, hurry, quickly, because it's coming. And so the best thing you can do is to manage expectations. Everybody wants to play. Nobody wants to pay the fee to play. And so there's no such thing as a free lunch. You've got to go through your breakdown before you get to the breakthrough, as the proverb says. The other suggestion is regulate the amount of change to match the pain threshold of the organization. Too many leaders I know want to go all in, big bang, all at once, and they get 10% attrition. Or too many leaders want to go big bang all at once, and it ends up being resulting in lots of critical disasters. So number 1, manage expectations. Number 2, regulate the change to match the organization you're in. Second question, this one comes from Steven. How do I help micromanagers let go, man? They're all on top of me, especially with this agile thing. They're saying agile means do this my way, do this. How do I help them let go and let the team do some of their own thing? And the answer is show results. Show results. Because a lot of people who are in those positions came to those positions by having a very on top of things approach to their leadership position. And so what got them there was being involved in everything. And it is a non-trivial thing to ask somebody in a leadership position to start to let go as a means to improve performance. It's counterintuitive. So the best thing to do is to say, pick your battles one at a time, pick one that you know you're going to hit and slam dunk it. Just deliver. And start building a track record, because trust is earned. Trust is earned. And a lot of leaders who are being challenged to allow the team to self-organize are skeptical because they haven't seen the team deliver in that kind of a framework. Which leads us to question number 3, which comes from Alf. Alf is asking, well, the team's not ready to step up, so I have to step up for them as their leader. They're just not taking the initiative that this agile thing requires of them, so I got to fill the gap for them. And the answer is create a vacuum. I tell a lot of people that, I tell teams in particular, hey, management has just adopted an official methodology where they are required to take a step back. And now there's a vacuum here because nobody's like saying do this and do that and explicitly and directly. And it's up to you, team, to step up. And if you don't, then eventually that's going to create problems and delays and issues, and management's going to have to step right back in and start telling you what to do all over again. And as soon as they do, you missed it. You missed the one opportunity in your entire career to have more control, more ownership, more influence on your work, the way you've been complaining about for the last several years, and you missed it because you didn't want to take a step forward and take a chance at being the full professional that you could be. So those would be the talking points I would offer to the team that isn't ready to step up. Question number 4, this comes from Supratim. Supratim, he's asking, okay, fair enough. So there's this push and pull with management. There's the valley of bumpy beginnings. But how do I track if our Agile initiative is on the right track? And the first principle that you want to understand is that there's a difference between leading indicators and lagging indicators, outputs and outcomes. Leading indicators are things like velocity, things like how much work do we get done, our predictability of what percentage of our commitments are we delivering on, and things of that nature. Lagging indicators might be things around customer satisfaction as measured by increased revenue, or customer satisfaction as measured by market share. And a leading indicator for customer satisfaction might be net promoter score or good old-fashioned customer sat ratings. But lagging indicators where you have true outcomes tend to be around the bottom line. And you want to ask your leadership team, your peers, or maybe even your boss, what are the outcomes that we're going for with this Agile initiative? Let's design some lagging indicators on those outcomes. And then what are some leading indicators that can contribute towards that result? So for some people, it's quality. And so defects is a good leading indicator. A lagging indicator would be overall uptime. And a great source for this is the Puppet Labs State of DevOps report, where they measure stability and agility. Stability based on the standard kind of operational metrics, and agility based on frequency of delivery. It takes time. So leading versus lagging, outputs versus outcomes. Question number 5 comes from Ratnesh, and Ratnesh says, but we're remote. And so that makes leadership really hard, especially self-organized leadership. They're not stepping up. I have to step in as the leader because we're remote. And this is an entire topic. This is an emerging state of being in today's world where technology like this is allowing us to collaborate. Granted, this is kind of a monologue right now because that's what I do with my coffee. And so I would encourage you to look into there's a bestseller by the founders of Basecamp called Remote that tells a little bit of the benefits and the approaches to it. I would also download Jesse's ebook from my website, jessefield.com. I lived abroad for a couple of years and I got to feel it. This is an entire topic. Don't have time to get into the specifics, but do a little bit of reading and you'll find some techniques that you might want to try. Number 6 is from Megan. Megan is asking, but okay, Jesse, you got into this like power of a positive no thing and that we should be saying no because we're overwhelmed and overcommitted. But saying no is rude and it's bad. Shouldn't you instead say, yes, I can do that request if we have a little bit of a trade-off? And this no topic generated some buzz during the webinar. And I can sense some sensitivity around being the person that starts pushing back to enforce your own professional boundaries. And again, I want to go back to the book. It has this very strict, repeatable, and respectful 3-step approach. Acknowledge the request respectfully and truthfully. Explain your position. My position is I can't take on all of this unless something else is removed. And then offer some alternatives. So alternative number 1, yes, please remove something from my plate. Then I'll be able to do it. Or alternative number 2, go bother Bob. Or something a little bit more flavorful and delicate phraseology around that. But the idea here is don't say no. Don't do that. You're performing the no with a lot of sugarcoating and salad dressing to hold your center, to hold your ground. See, this is my professional boundaries, and I appreciate the need that you have here, but here's the situation, and here are some options for you to consider. Hopefully that helps, because I'm not advocating people just start being rude and obnoxious. That's a career-limiting move for a leader. Number 7, this comes from Venkat. Venkat says, okay, Jesse, I get your whole point about Wagile, Scrummerfall, and Water Scrumfall, departmental Agile, but if we go true Agile, our customers are going to flip out. Our customers don't want to go to our meetings. Our customers can't understand how to slice a large initiative into small pieces. Our customers, so the departmental Agile is the only thing we can do. To which I would say, are you sure about that? Are you sure your customers don't want to be actively involved in the innovation process? Are you sure they don't want to see something sooner? Are you sure they want to wait as long as possible for everything, or maybe they want to see something a little bit earlier? There are a lot of sins that can be forgiven by a delivery organization if you just start delivering. The sins of being a little bit more costly, the sin of requiring people to be coming to your critical project review meetings. Those sins are forgiven when you start demonstrating a track record that you get stuff done and you're getting it done good. And so I would challenge you on your assumption that they're not interested in better results. Instead, I would just start introducing change at the rate that they can tolerate, and then invite them gradually into more aspects of the overall innovation process. Again, they may not be ready for the change. Your team certainly isn't, and that's a leadership issue in itself. So try that. And try first delivering increments and say, oh, by the way, we've got our first prototype ready and would love to get some feedback on it. It'll take you 15 minutes. You have 15 minutes for me? This also demonstrates that we have a track record of delivery. It also means that your money is well spent. And as soon as you get them in that first meeting, boom, they're addicted. They're hooked. Oh my gosh, this is cool. Ideas, ideas, ideas. And then your backlog grows, and then you got to start doing that saying no thing again. So it's all intertwined. Hopefully, those questions were helpful to you as a leader in an agile environment, whether you're a Scrum Master or a departmental manager or a senior leader, executive type. I know I enjoyed sharing the topic with you. And so hopefully you'll join me here again next time on Morning Fuel. See you then.